All right, guys. The next thing that you really need to know. Oh, no, we don't need to go to there. Let me just make sure. Yeah, the volume is there. Good. The next thing that we're going to learn about is reflections. The reflections are really, really easy. So there's two types of reflections. Oh, I should note, I'm trying to do this on my tablet to make it so that it's a little bit easier to see. A few people messaged me that they were having a hard time with the screen resolution. Also make sure your sound is on. Like for real. Okay. So that's the reflections. Really, really simple. This is again is under transformations. And it still uses the same mode. Inside is going to be side to side. Outside is going to be up and down. And what I mean by inside is if you flip the sign with the X, it changes it over X and Y. If you flip the sign outside of the function, it flips it over Y. Now this instinctively makes sense. It instinctively makes sense. Let me show you what I mean. First, let's take a very simple equation. F of x equals 2x plus 1. Now I'm going to flip it both directions, and I'll show you in Desmos in just a second. So first I'm going to flip it. This is on the inside, I'm going to plug in the negative x. And this is going to be flip. It's reflect. Man, I can't write in this program. I'm going to try one more time. And make it a reasonable size. Okay, so this is going to reflect over the y-axis. And this is going to be over the x-axis. Should have put a hyphen. So it's pretty simple. If I do f of negative x, if I want to flip it over the y-axis, instead of x, I just put in a negative x. Now, that's just really simple. Negative x, negative 2x plus 1. So we can see it changed the term that had the x to a negative. This is not always the case. It depends on the exponent. Now, if I flip it the other direction, negative f of x, that means I take the entire equation how it was and put a negative in front. Now when I distribute that, it flips the signs on all of them. So let's take a look. Let's head over to Desmos and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so just in Desmos, I'm going to label my function f of x, and our original function was x plus 1, 2x plus 1. Then our inverted equation was y equals negative 2x plus 1. Now you can see what I mean when I say that it flips over the vertical axis, so it's flipping sideways. It's flipping right over this axis right here. You can see it's the exact same, just flipped this way. Now another way we could have done this is just said f of negative x. See how that turned it red? So I can turn it on and off. It's right exactly there. Those are the same thing. And then last, if we wanted to flip it over the horizontal axis or the x-axis, I put a negative on the outside. Now I'm going to turn these two off to make it a little bit easier to see that this is flipped down. So this has just been flipped over this x-axis. Only to make it a little bit easier, we can also graph the equation where we flip all the signs. It's the same thing. All of that is the same. Now, an easy way to tell if it's been flipped. I mean, visually, let me just go over to transformations. Let's see what you have to do. All right, so here we're looking at which way we flipped it. So we're flipping it sideways, so that means it needs to go on the inside. Now, I'm not going to do these because I want you to do them. I want to see if I can, let me just pause. So let's just do a quick example. Let's say that we have this, and that the purple one is our f of x, and that the dashed blue one is our g of x. And they want us to write g of x in terms of f of x. And there's our little answer box. Well, it's pretty simple. We just need to know which way it flipped. Since it flipped top to bottom, the y values all became negative. So we pop the negative on the outside. Let's say that you have this one now. Let's say we're always going to assume that the solid is our original. So let's say that that's my f of x is the green, and that our g of x is the blue. Well, in this case, we're going to say that g of x, see how it's flipped sideways? That means we put it on the inside. Now that's all really nice, but what if they give you some hideous equation? Like the equation for f of x is actually x times x plus 2 squared. That's the equation for f of x. Now, if they give me the equation, I now have to apply this to this. And what that means is, let me get a color. I like green. Everywhere there's an x, I'm really going to think of it as parentheses. And now I'm going to just plug in a negative x every single place. So g of x is really, remember I'm going to just pop in a negative x plus 2 squared. Now typically you would reverse this. We don't like to lead with a negative unless there's another choice. So it's just 2 take away x. And that's it. Pretty simple.